My husband was an architect.
She lost her husband, and the same day, she lost her mother. But before she could even bury her grief, another nightmare began. Her children were taken, not by strangers, but by family. This is Crime HQ, and tonight, we examine the disturbing child custody case from Ndiowu in Orumba North, Anambra State, where a grieving widow says her in-laws forcefully took her underage children just days after her husband's death. Mrs. Sharon Nwosu, a native of Anambra, Ndiowu, had barely processed her husband's death when tragedy struck again. Her own mother reportedly passed away the same day. Two devastating losses in one breath. While still preparing for funeral rites and receiving sympathizers, Sharon says tension began building within her late husband's family. The grieving widow alleges that instead of support, she was met with suspicion, accusations, demands, pressure. According to Sharon's account, the conflict escalated when her brother-in-law, identified as Ifeanyi Nwosu, allegedly demanded possession of her late husband's laptop and phone. Her husband had reportedly just secured a contract before his passing. He was said to be an architect. Sharon claimed she was asked to hand over the laptop so the younger brother could take over the contract, and she says she was warned not to tell anyone. The request reportedly came only days after her husband's death. For Sharon, it felt too soon, too aggressive, too suspicious. She refused, and that, she believes, was when the hostility intensified. Sharon alleges that her in-laws began accusing her of being responsible for her husband's death. She claims they repeatedly told her children that their mother caused their father's demise. For a grieving mother, that accusation cuts deeply. But beyond emotional distress, Sharon says something even more alarming happened. She alleges that after the funeral, her in-laws broke into her room and took the money given to her by sympathizers. And then, days later, they took her children. According to reports, two women identified as Felicia Nwosu, her mother-in-law, and Shainai Nwosu, her sister-in-law, were later arrested following a complaint Sharon made to the Ministry of Women Affairs. Sharon, reportedly in tears at the office of the Anambra State Commissioner for Women and Social Welfare, narrated how her underage children were forcefully taken from her. In many Nigerian communities, disputes over children after husband's death can become complicated by tradition, inheritance issues, and extended family power dynamics. But legally, custody of minor children typically defaults to the surviving parent unless a court determines otherwise. There was no court order, no formal custody transfer, only alleged force. After Sharon filed a complaint, the Anambra State Women and Social Welfare Commissioner, Honorable Ife Obinabo, reportedly intervened. She expressed displeasure over the situation. She assured Sharon that efforts would be made to reunite her with her children. The accused in-laws were reportedly arrested and taken to the Anambra State Criminal Investigation Department in Awka. They were served a letter mandating them to appear before the commissioner with all parties involved for further investigation. At this time, the matter remains under official review. No court has issued a final ruling, and all accused individuals are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. This case taps into a broader issue rarely discussed openly. Widowhood in parts of Nigeria can sometimes come with property disputes, inheritance conflicts, cultural expectations, family control over assets, suspicion and blame. When a husband dies, especially if he leaves behind property, contracts, or financial opportunities, tensions can escalate quickly. And when children are involved, custody can become a weapon in family power struggles. Lost in the adult conflict are the children. Children who just lost their father, allegedly heard accusations against their mother, were removed from her care, are now at the center of a criminal and social investigation. Child psychologists emphasize that stability after a parental death is critical. Removing a child from their primary caregiver during grief can compound trauma. If Sharon's allegations are proven, the psychological toll could be lasting. If they are disproven, the damage to family relationships may still remain. Either way, the children are the most vulnerable. Investigators will likely examine whether force was used, whether there was intent to permanently deny custody, the financial motives behind the laptop and contract dispute, the allegation of money being taken after the funeral, statements from all parties involved. As of now, the full legal outcome remains pending. A widow grieving 2 deaths in one day, a family dispute over property, accusations of murder, children taken from their mother, and a government office stepping in to mediate what should never have escalated this far. In Ndiowu, this is more than a family disagreement. It is a test of how society treats widows in their most vulnerable moment. And it raises a difficult question. When grief meets greed, who protects the children? This is Crime HQ, where we follow the evidence, respect the presumption of innocence, and tell the stories that matter. If you believe widows deserve protection and children deserve stability, subscribe to Crime HQ. We will continue to follow this case as official updates emerge.